Hello, everybody. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, joining me is Aaron William Freeland and our special guest, David Morisuti of Sportsnet. Well, gentlemen, let's start with the big story that's going on right now. And that is that anybody who's following the CFL, it's that Mazzoli will be the starting quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Very excited by this news, Frank. I'm glad to see he's finally getting back into the saddle. This means that the Toronto Argonauts will have a great chance of finishing ahead of Hamilton this year. So I'm very excited about that prospect.
That's what.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Resist. My Tiger Cat fans that hate me won't like me anymore. Wait a minute, they didn't like me in the first place. So we're good. We're good. It's all good. I get what you're saying, but also I have to say that Mazzoli, David, he was having an MVP season before he got hurt.
He was, and it's weird.
MOP, sorry.
Yeah, he was having an MOP season, and the thing was he was putting up great numbers. I still wasn't convinced whether he was going to be good enough to get Hamilton to the Grey Cup because I feel like he was at times trying too hard. If that makes sense, but then he goes down with the injury, and you're like, uh-oh. And then Dane Evan comes in, and it's like, no problem. Like, we got this. Like, I wrote in my preview for Sportsnet for the East Division that what impressed me the most about Hamilton was, even though Jeremiah Mazzoli went down, and as we just said, he was their MOP candidate, they didn't miss a beat. Nope. That's a sign of a good football team. When you can ensure a deep one and one that wasn't going to let one thing bring the rest of the team down.
They got a lot of talent. They don't have to paper anything over. They're the real deal. They're the team to beat in the East. I don't think anybody will question that. At least coming out of the gate, right, Aaron?
No, most definitely. I like to poke fun because, of course, I'm a Toronto Argonauts fan. And there's that long-standing rivalry with Hamilton. But with Mazzoli at the helm, it's going to be a very interesting year for Hamilton. So
absolutely. It'll be very interesting and a lot of fun. Now, all the joking aside, the real big news coming out of the Canadian Football League is the CFL moves to prevent game cancellations due to COVID-19, at least mitigate it. Right, David?
I was just about to say, you cannot in this COVID era, we have found out that you can't totally get rid of the risk, but you can do whatever you can to ensure that risk is as minimal as possible. So yeah, they're taking the lead of the NFL, but I feel like they're doing it a lot differently than how the NFL. I know that there's a lot of similarities in what's being asked, but the implications I think are a lot different in terms of how they're assigning blame. So basically,
let's go through the basics, David. Let's go through the basics. So
for sure,
a team has COVID, game canceled because of that team. That team earns a loss. The other team earns a victory. Yes. Both teams have COVID problems. They both are awarded a loss. And as far as pay is concerned, no individual will lose his pay. They lose as a team. So in other words, if COVID's a problem on the team, it's a problem for the team.
So the way that it was explained to me is that if a team can prove that on the day that game is canceled, that 85% of the roster has been fully vaccinated, the players will receive their salaries for that game. If that figure is below 85%, they don't get paid. So basically it's telling teams, if you make sure that the majority of your rosters are vaccinated, your players will get paid. They won't lose their wages. So This is a way of the league pretty much putting in the players' hands and saying, you know, a game might get canceled, it might be out of your control, but whether or not you lose pay, that's in your control. That's how when I read that part specifically, it's very specific in putting that onus on the players to ensure that they're the one that they're getting their full vaccinations.
So what's your view of that system of control or mitigation of COVID-19?
The issue I have here is, it really puts this whole battle of whose choice is it really to get the vaccination, right? We want to make sure that everyone's getting vaccinated and that those that are able to do so are getting vaccinated. I still understand the hesitancy from some to get the vaccinations because some are concerned about the long-term effects and all those things. So this whole idea of, pushing it onto the players and saying that there's going to be consequences of your pay, I get where the concern with the players lies with that. But at the same time, the CFL is a business. The CFL does not make a lot of money. The CFL needs every dollar from every game and every ticket that is purchased. So they have a right to ensure that their business isn't interrupted or they mitigate the interruption of a missed game. So I get where they're coming from in that regard because, they've already gone through a loss because of COVID. They don't want to further that loss and reschedule. There's no, and I like the fact that they're not going to try to reschedule games because
well, actually, they are. This all happens if they can't reschedule the game. So what happens is, as we get later in the season,
exactly,
rescheduling the game becomes a bit of a bigger and bigger problem.
And I just don't even it's such a tight window to even try to reschedule games. Like even if they move it a day or 2 or 3, we saw it in the NFL how tough that was.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's the concern I have is to say that we're going to try to reschedule games. There's so many factors at play with that. Luckily, venue availability won't be one of those issues for most of the teams. The issue is the schedule is already so condensed and so compressed. How much time teams have off? The CFL puts itself in that position to lose games potentially because of that.
Well, that's it. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, right, Aaron?
No, I mean, with everything that they're trying to do and with the start of the season coming up this weekend, there's not a lot of room for error here. I mean, they're looking at a really compressed schedule as it is. I'm looking through the Argonauts schedule right now, and I'm hard put to find a week off until week 9 and week 11, and that's about it. So after week 11, it's full tilt boogie all the way until the 108th Grey Cup. You don't have time to reschedule.
Well, I think the league is erring on the side of safety, and I think they should, even though we live in a Freeland. It's obvious that we have to, in this case, and Aaron and I have talked about this ad nauseum. It always comes down to people who don't, in this case, whether it was masking or vaccination, it comes down to people's fears. And some people are ruled by their fears. And their fears, like the child who's shaking in bed, they're positive there's something in the closet or under the bed. They're sure there's something under the bed or in the closet. Unfortunately, the problem here is, and this is what the football players, almost as much, if not more than regular society, they seem to be more pessimistic about it. I think because of the added feeling that they are much healthier than the average person, so they can combat the disease they feel, which I understand, Aaron. We've heard this story so many times that people have a lot of different reasons why they don't want COVID. The problem is many of them are that ghost in the closet.
Not only that, I think people totally forget what the whole idea of getting the vaccination means too. Football players, I mean, I was at practice today. Football players are right beside each other on the field, battling with each other in practice. I know that they've done a good job of trying to make sure that masks are being worn when they're not on the field. So if you're on the bus, like in the Argos case, they got to go from a bus from BMO to their practice facility. They got to wear masks when they're in meeting rooms, probably in the locker room to as much as possible. But the way that we've found out about these variants, and the Delta variant remains the biggest fear among healthcare workers, or those in the public health spectrum, because the rate of infection is so much higher, because even the variant can go above those who are vaccinated. We're seeing people fully vaccinated still test positive. And so in the CFL's case, they just are trying to tell the players, like, we understand that you're healthy. We understand, you always are conscious about what you put in your body, but think about what people have been through the last year and a half, how difficult that's been, because what we found about this virus, even those who think that they're at their healthiest can still be impacted.
Absolutely. Aaron, we've learned a lot about the virus. We've dealt with it over and over again on this show.
No, we have, and I can certainly appreciate the CFL's players' point of view in saying, well, we need more information. We don't know about the long-term effects. They need to realize that these vaccines have been in development since MERS in 2012. So this is not a new concept. It's how they managed to break down the DNA of the virus so quickly. In addition, the Marley's family actually lost a 26-year-old security guard to COVID earlier on in the pandemic in April and May of last year. So MLSE is aware of how quickly this can take someone who is actually healthy. I can certainly appreciate their reticence in getting this done. I agree. There doesn't seem to be that much data out there, but at the same time, I want to do everything that I can to protect my own money and my own paychecks. And the CFL, I know, is going to try to do everything they can to protect their investors and protect their owners. So, it's a tough situation to have to deal with. But
what it comes down to for me, and like at the very end of the line, I said it's about fear. Anyone who's fearful of taking the vaccine is a party to making someone else's fears of the virus a reality. So the fact that you don't get your vaccine accelerates the opportunity of making someone's fear that's realized. So get vaccinated unless you have health reasons that you can show, or that the doctor can advise you about, that you go through the ritual of talking to your doctor, healthcare experts, find out if you are a candidate for not receiving the vaccine, understanding completely why you can't take the vaccine. And then I myself, and I think most reasonable people, will say, well, listen, we don't want you to take the vaccine. You're in danger taking the vaccine. We don't want you to do that. I don't think, guys, any of us wants anyone to take the vaccine if they're in real danger.
I've heard of people that have had
bad
side effects. That they've had bad reactions to this vaccine. I totally get the risk that people take when they take the vaccine. Even when I got my shot, I'm not afraid of needles, but there was a bit of,
hesitation.
Like, not even hesitation. It's just like, okay, well, how is this going to affect me? Like, you're that whole 15-minute period. You're kind of like, all right, when's it going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, that's that type of fear and that type of, paranoia. It doesn't go away for a lot of people. It's just it's just something that's not commonly done. It's not like the flu shot that people have been getting for years and years and years. This is something that's only been happening since March in Canada. So I totally get that, but the data that we have gotten now has shown that not only are people in better health when they get the vaccine and preventing COVID, the whole notion of, well, if I don't get it, I can kind of eliminate my risk. That's just the data showing that that's just not happening right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the issues with the rise in cases because of the variant is because of those who are not vaccinated and chose not to get vaccinated.
It's about picking your risk, right, Aaron? Yes
Yeah,
or
exactly.
no?
It's what you're willing to accept.
And I'm willing to accept the one in whatever it is, 20 million or 30 million of having side effects compared to the 1% that can get COVID and go into, it can go bad for them. So for me, I'm not a gambler, but I like to think of the odds anyway.
That's all you can ask for.
That's right. Well, David, thanks for joining us for this CFL breaking bit of news. And if you like hearing about the CFL, there's always CFL talk. And David and I have an announcement. We've taken on, introduce our new personality on CFL talk.
I mean, he makes me, now I feel I'm going to be like the third wheel on this show.
That's right. You're going to be the Sec 2A wheel.
Yeah. So, someone that I've been in touch with the last few, year actually, just because when he signed with, I'll introduce Natey J, former CFL player, member of the Toronto Argonauts back in the day. He's going to be joining us as our new co-host. I'm going to call him the expert. We're going to have to come up with a nickname of some sort because basically we can throw any question we have at Natey, and he joined us on Monday's show. If anyone who's watched Monday's show would concede that Natey's got a real knowledge of the game and around of the whole league, and it also helps that he knows a lot of the players in the league, and he's got some inside information that Frank and I just generally don't have. So it's always good
kind
to
of
have.
Impossible to have.
As I take the Pinball Clemens route of you always want to make sure you're not the smartest in the room. Well, as I said before, Natey makes me look not that smart when it comes to talking CFL.
And he broke on our show the news that he will be doing the color on the Toronto Argonaut broadcasts.
Yeah, that's again, I was curious because I know that they're trying to fill that role after Chris Schultz unfortunately passed away. So it's nice that that not only are they continuing with calling the game on the radio, but that they're going back. They're keeping it in house with the Mississauga natives. So I know that Tay is excited about that opportunity.
Moving closer to Toronto, Schwartz was in Burlington. They're skipping Oakville and going right to Mississauga. It's a pretty deep area for retired Argonauts, so it's an honor. I'm honored. I've always been honored, David, that you were on the show with me. It's always been a pleasure to have you as a partner doing the show, and now it's even more. I feel really proud of the fact of what we've done and what we've accomplished because we can have somebody of the quality of person that Natey is and that TSN sees as a football guy, a Canadian Football League guy. So nothing better for a show that's called CFL Talk than to have a CFL player, former player, who happens to be doing the broadcasts for TSN, a game of the week. This is a guy who'll be entrenched in what's going on in the Canadian Football League using whomever he knows. And he does have a bit of a bite. He likes to razz the other players. So, there's a bit of that going on. So it'll be very interesting on a week-to-week basis hearing who is in the line of fire this week.
In fact, I just thought you were trying to get rid of me and we're trying to find my replacement.
You brought him in. So, I'm innocent on this one. Wink, wink.
That's how
don't get injured. Don't get injured. That's the rule in the Canadian Football League. Thanks, David.
Take it easy, guys.
All right. Aaron, let's see if we got some time here to do some more news. And let's go to hockey. Let's start with the Diversity Alliance. Tell us all about it, buddy.
So as recently was revealed over Twitter and over Instagram, Evander Kane's spouse has come forward with allegations of him betting on his own team in NHL games. So as a result of this, the Hockey Diversity Alliance has asked that Kane step aside briefly, step down, take a small hiatus while the investigation into that is conducted. Now, this has unfortunately spread to some more of his teammates There are
Oh
apparently
boy.
some San Jose Sharks who shall remain nameless at this point, mainly because I don't have their names, who have indicated that they wouldn't necessarily be comfortable with him coming back to the team.
Well, Aaron, you see, this fits in again to the, Evander Kane is not one of my favorite players. And I'll start by saying this. He made a couple of what I'll call obnoxious posts, right? One of them was him holding all kinds of money in Vegas and with blocks of money. I just, I understand, how people want to be cool that way, being, I guess, kind of rapper like, I just don't like that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and go, oh, great, I got an excuse to dump on him. I'm not dumping on him. I'm going to say this. We don't know for a fact that any of that happened. He's going to be punished for the accusation as it exists, like it happens every time when someone's accused of something. So, when it comes to in situations like this, right?
Now,
I'm waiting for the information to come out. That's what I'm doing.
I was going to say he is currently being sued by a casino over $500,000 of unpaid markers, which he racked up between games 3 and 4 of the San Jose Sharks series versus the Vegas Golden Knights a couple of years back.
Yeah, exactly. That's when he held that block of money. So this guy's
he
not
also
innocent.
filed. I was going to say he also filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy earlier this year. So there may be some substance to the allegations that he may have been in a bit of a financial hole and may have been betting on himself. I mean, he's had a pretty much a career best season when it came to his points production this most recent year. So, I mean, it could be he was trying to beat over-unders. I don't know. The investigation will, of course, bring all of that to light. I myself, not passing any judgment on the guy. I don't like the fact that he referred to his soon-to-be ex-wife as crazy. That's known as gaslighting, when you're trying to convince somebody else that they're the crazy one and you're not, even if their accusation may have some basis in fact because they're closest to you. But we'll see how this all pans out.
Well, I don't understand how the Hockey Diversity Alliance has anything to do with this, because this isn't a black or white issue.
But he's one of their prominent board members and one of their
founders. I understand that. I get it. If he's one of their board members, okay. Blackhawks pledged to release findings of abuse investigation.
Yeah, so there's been a mounting pressure on the Blackhawks to sort of go public with everything, mainly because people are concerned that the results of any investigation into this are just going to be swept under the rug and people aren't going to be paying any attention to it. So it's glad that Danny Wirtz, the CEO of the team, has come out and said we're going to use this process to engage in self-reflection and we're going to provide these results as well.
Ellie Black, 4th on the beam at the Olympics. Great Canadian gymnast.
She's a fantastic gymnast. She sprained an ankle earlier last week and wasn't going to be competing, but then decided to compete in the balance beam, placing 4th behind Simone Biles, who eventually obviously got it back and did compete. So
yeah, and good for her. I wish I just still can't believe how many people got in her case because she felt she needed to take a break.
When you're in the spotlight, the way that Simone is, and you're outspoken as much as she is, these sort of things will tend to pop up occasionally.
Penny Oleksiak, a star, a true star.
It's absolutely fantastic to see. She's finally the most decorated Canadian Olympian ever. Which is absolutely fantastic, and she's done it in solo events and in team events. And this is the second Olympics in a row. She's been absolutely fantastic, and it ain't over yet. There's still room for her to improve, which is both awesome and frightening at the same time.
Canadian world champs in beach volleyball, no gold for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, both of Canada's teams lost. So we wouldn't actually be competing. This was the first time in a long time we actually had 2 teams competing in the quarters. So unfortunately, they didn't advance.
Megan Rapinoe, lose to Canada remark. I mean, really? That didn't bother me at all. Big deal.
Yeah, I wasn't upset. I mean, I know Canada hadn't beaten the States since 2003. I guess some people were overly sensitive about it because You know, nobody likes to lose to Canada. Heck, nobody likes to lose, period. Bit of a tempest in a teacup.
Andre DeGrasse sets a record in 200 meter semifinal and then wins the gold in the 200 meter race.
Saw that this morning. Absolutely fantastic. It was about time.
Canada soccer, Sweden asked IOC to reschedule a women's gold medal game due to heat.
Yeah, it's supposed to be getting up over 30 degrees Celsius, so they're trying to find a time earlier in the day or later when it will be a little bit cooler for them to play.
If you're here on Friday, we'll finish the rest of the stories we didn't get to do today, Aaron.
Perfect.
And thanks for sharing the time today with David and CFL Talk.
Not a pleasure. It was something I felt we needed to be addressed.
Thank you, Aaron. For Aaron William Freeland, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live. Aaron Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.